back, Gusties. I hope we're here having lunch with you as we continue to celebrate Give to Gustavus Day here on the campus of Gustavus Adolphus College. I'm Tom Young. I have the privilege of serving as your Vice President for Advancement, proud member of the class of '88, and we have had a fantastic day today. I've Team Danger with me, Angela Erickson. We are your 8-minute update, and I thought, boy, we had so much fun stuff this morning. Before we go to the board, Tane, any reflections for you, Angela, from the morning? What did you really, what struck you?
So this is totally real, is that I got the privilege of getting to go around campus and shoot some of these videos that folks have been seeing all morning. And I didn't know what it was going to be like to be back on campus. And I am honestly and sincerely touched and moved by how happy students are to be here, how much it means to them to be back on campus, because there was a delay for a lot of students on when they got to come back. And to a person, every single student said, yes, things are different and they're a little weird, but I'm so happy that I am here again with my friends and my faculty and everybody. So that's really kind of stuck with me all morning.
Yeah, neat.
Yeah.
Angela?
Yeah, we've had a lot of tugging on heartstrings this morning. I think all of those clips that you've been a part of, Tane, from the morning segment have been an absolute riot, but also really heartwarming to see the students sort of in their element here back on campus and adjusting to the new reality and the new normal. I really enjoyed the chance to visit with the faculty, Blake and Laura, 2 members of the faculty this morning, just to talk about all of the challenges that they've been able to overcome in making sure that we provide a world-class education for our students here at Gustavus. It's really a joy to visit with them. They work so hard. Many of them are managing, parallel tracks of in-person instruction, hybrid instruction, online instruction, while serving on committees and doing all of the other things that are expected of our faculty. So really hats off to them because they are keeping our students engaged and learning, which is really what it's all about. Tom, how about you?
Well, it's always fun when you get asked to interview the president. So that one goes without saying, but I have to say, Neil and Leandra have outdone themselves again, and to have a chance to visit with him about the song they wrote, a love song to Gustavus, which sounds a little, it's just fantastic. But to watch it, how can you not just feel the emotion of the fall and the understanding that they have through their gift of music to capture the moment. Just fantastic. If you're tuning in for the first time today, you can find it. It's out there on YouTube, I'm sure now, and posted to Facebook, I imagine, and check it out. It's a real tribute to the good work that's happening with our faculty and the students and all of the folks who are working at Gustavus. So I have to say that I was looking forward to that one and knowing just how fun they are. So it was just, that was very meaningful.
Yeah, folks are loving that. I'm sure glad they got a chance to come and record that music video before the snow fell on the fall campus.
Tane, what do you
that
see
could have been
on
a
the
much different
leaderboard?
outcome.
What's going? Absolutely, Angela. What do you see going on over there?
So we're here today to raise money for Gustavus. We've got some big goals and a lot of individual challenges throughout the day, and we are doing really well. Like, I'm looking at the board right now. We are just on the precipice. We did it literally while I was talking. We passed $80,000. So that is very cool. Thank you to the person who just did that. So that is amazing. We are making great progress. We've got some big challenges on the board. One of the ones that I know a lot of people like watching because it's really up there is this 50-state challenge. We are trying to get donations from all 50 states. We have done it every single year that we have done Give to Gustavus Day. We've gotten at least one gift, if not many gifts, from every single state. We have a few states up here that have not filled in yet, although it does look like we just got Maine, if I'm reading this correctly. Thank you, finally, Maine, for coming through. Yes,
I see that. How about Alabama?
Alabama. So we need Alabama. We need Idaho, I believe, Kentucky. I can't read New England well enough. It's too far away.
New Hampshire, I think.
Oh, okay, yes. Oh, and Hawaii. We need Hawaii. So, I don't know. It's probably like 3 a.m. at Hawaii right now. I don't know time zones very well. Anyway, so we're very close to that. We do have a trustee challenge throughout this period, this noon to 2 o'clock period, where we have that challenge going on all these next 2 hours. There's a lot of ways to give and a lot of ways to do this. And I'm going to just say, like, if you're thinking, oh, isn't that nice? Like, they have these challenges is kind of, no, it matters a lot, because when we punch through one of these challenges, we unlock a whole bunch of extra money. And so, you know, that 80,000 very quickly grows. And so we get a lot closer to our overall goal for the day. So if you're watching right now and you can help us check one of these boxes, help us like punch through. Help us get to one of those big goals, because we want to do it. I want to do it this time.
It is fun to watch the numbers go twice as fast when the trustee challenge comes on. And there's also, I think, noon power hour with another $10,000 challenge that's on the board. So let's make it happen.
Yeah, there is a power hour. Right. I usually wait until 5 o'clock for my power hour. But Angela, what were you going to say?
Yeah. I was going to say, we're in the middle of one of the power hours today. We are over halfway to meeting that goal, Tom. Like you said, dumping $10,000 into that big pot. If we can get a certain amount of donors by 2 p.m. today. So that's really exciting. You know, the piece of that leaderboard that I pay special attention to, and I know some of my classmates also do, is the class by class challenge. You know, we've got a lot of people, a lot of Gusties that are competitive. And I know that the class of 2001 has been hovering near the top of that class leaderboard. So I put out a call to all of my Gusty classmates. I said, hey, if you've got your competitive juices flowing today, make sure you give a gift so that we can stay up at the top of that leaderboard. There are some in the early 2000s and early 90s that are kind of hovering up there at the top of that leaderboard, but that's a lot of fun. You know, for folks who are graduates of Gustavus, get your classmates involved and help those numbers creep up a bit.
Yeah, Tom, our classes are not on there right now. Like, it's...
Come on, 88. It's a little embarrassing to be sitting in the seat in front of the camera and not see 88 on the screen. So let's go 88. We need you there.
Let's go 2001.
2001.
Okay, we've got a lot on tap these next 2 hours. We're talking to a lot of folks. We have stories from across the campus to bring you all. And so this is both, you know, we're asking you to give, but there's a lot of cool stuff. So we're getting ready. Anything last you want to say before we jump into it, Angela?
You know, I'm good. Tom, you get the final word on this one.
I think the only thing to say right now, as we go to another fantastic video, go Gusties.
Yay!
Woo!
Hi. Hello, I am here in the Gusty Den, and I am playing with Gus a game of cornhole against two members of the Campus Activities Board who are going to tell us a little bit about what's going on in terms of campus activities. While I throw this bag, do you want to introduce yourselves quick?
Yeah, I'm Allie Granholm. I'm one of the co-presidents of the Campus Activities Board. And I'm Katie Ashful, and I'm also one of the co-presidents of the Campus Activities Board.
Okay, that's a point. So, I'm wondering, like, what are you doing these days? You know, it's a strange time. The mission of the Campus Activities Board is to give students fun, interesting, cool things to do that help them create memories and avoid going mad from academics in winter. So how are you helping stave off either boredom or just sort of cabin fever?
Yeah, so we're still planning as normal. We like to have at least 2 events a week. We're kind of switching our planning to more virtual events or like take and make. So next week we're having a cribbage giveaway so students can come grab a cribbage board and take it to their dorm and just play cribbage. We're trying to get students to stay in their rooms but also still have fun. So like we said, virtual events is a big hit. Virtual game shows where we can give away money, things like that. Easy things where we can social distance, where things can be picked up and like we don't have to worry about sitting in one room at the same time.
So I'm gonna throw this, and then I'm hoping that you have one too, Gus. Do you want to throw it quick? I'll ask the question and you throw it. Gus has great depth perception. He is the greatest cornhole player ever. It went in! That's good. Okay, so what I was going to ask you is, talk to me a little bit about, you're doing a lot of virtual events and things like that. When you think about the mission of CAB, like what your job is, how are you thinking about that in terms of how important what you all do is right now for students?
Yeah, what we do is super important, especially right now. Groups on campus hosting events. And so obviously it's super important for us to be putting on different events, whether that be virtual or in person. And we just want to have things that are engaging to just the widest range of people possible. And if we can do that either online in a virtual format or in some sort of maybe outdoor space that can hold a wider group of people, we're definitely trying to reach all the students either on campus or at home.
That is this, and I'll point out, you have been very innovative. They've been very innovative in that, like, even we're playing cornhole, which is a socially distant game. We're far away from each other. But even on top of that, you put all of the bean bags within another kind of bag so that then you can disinfect them afterwards. This is a smart, ingenious thing that only Gusties would think of. So I guess at the very end here, I'm asking you all to help me do my job of this is Give to Gustavus Day. When you're here, all these folks are watching at home. What do you want them to know about Gustavus right now and why it's important to support the school?
I think it's really important to support Gusties right now because, first of all, we're in a pandemic and students are having a hard time. But I think Gustavus students especially are doing a great job of social distancing, having fun still, and just enjoying the Gusty experience. And no one can hate on the Gusty experience. So, yeah.
Yeah, that is beautiful. Well, thank you both so much for taking this time. Gus got the last one in, so I'm going to try and get this one in and see if I can at least match Gus's score. No! Okay, I lose. All right, thank you so much. Congratulations, Gus. I owe you $10. All right, we will talk to you all again soon. While you at home are watching, now is the time. Make a donation, give and support these amazing students and all the students that they are supporting by making awesome things happen here on campus. So, thank you. Give to Gustavus. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Welcome back to Give to Gustavus today. I hope that you enjoyed that video about Campus Activities Board. Those students do such a great job, and they have really faced some challenges here as we get back to school this year and keeping students involved and being socially distanced. So my hat's off to everyone in the Campus Activities Board and what they're doing to keep students involved and socially active. In appropriate ways, of course. I'm really excited because I now, for the next 10 minutes, get to talk to Hannah Godbout. And Hannah is the Doctor of Clinical Psychology and the Director of the Counseling Center. Hannah, welcome to Give to Gustavus Day. How's your day going?
Thank you. It's going really well.
So, hey, can you tell me a little bit about how you ended up at Gustavus, a little bit about your background for folks that are meeting you for the first time?
Sure. Yeah. Yep. So like you said, I have a background in clinical psychology, and my entire clinical career has been in college counseling, basically. So I started at University of Minnesota Duluth, and then came down to Gustavus, and you haven't been able to get rid of me since. I'm on my 11th year now here at Gustavus. So I love being in higher ed.
Well, we love having you at Gustavus, Hannah, and I'm really excited to have a chance to talk to you a little bit about your work and your team and the services that your team offered. Can you talk a little bit about the counseling services at Gustavus and the different things that you do for the college and how you serve our students?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So our center right now consists of 6 clinicians, so all licensed mental health therapists from various backgrounds. So we have social workers and counselors and psychologists, and but all of us who are trained in sort of a generalist model. So what that means is we can work with any student presenting with any concern, really. Our center is a short-term model, which means that basically, we're trying to see as many of the Gustavus students population as we can within the academic year. So we don't necessarily work with students, weekly all year long, right? But our bread and butter is to see students individually with mental health concerns. And we also offer a number of other resources. We do a lot of workshops on common mental health topics. We have walk-in hours for folks who just need a quick consultation or are in more of a crisis state. We do presentations across campus about mental health needs and do a lot of collaboration with our peers. But most of our work really is those one-on-one sessions with our Gusties. And last year we saw just about 30% of them. So we're a hop in place. Yeah,
So
go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was just going to say
30%.
Yep. So 30% of our students come see you. How do they go ahead? How do they go about seeing you? Is there a cost to them? How do they sign up? How does that process work?
Yeah, great questions. No, we are free to students, and that is such a good point that I'm glad you brought up, because man, they're never going to get free therapy again. Probably, right? So we joke that now is a great time to come in and have a few sessions, even before anything real rough is going on, right? Or any major struggles. But yep, so students at any point can walk into our center or give us a call or shoot us an email, and we can sign them up for an appointment. And right now, actually, we're doing pretty good at keeping up with the need, and there's not too long of a wait, which can sometimes happen at trickier times of the year. But right now is a good time. We're around for them.
That is so great. I know one of the things that happened, one of my questions for you is how has the pandemic impacted your work?
Yeah.
I know last spring teletherapy was something that you all instituted. Can you talk a little bit about how the pandemic has affected your team and how teletherapy fits into your work?
You got it. Yep. So that is the biggest change, is we're still doing teletherapy. So last spring, when many of our students went home, when all of our students went home just about, we did not want to lose track of them. So we worked real hard, real quickly to do some training and learn some software and launch telehealth so that we could still have appointments with the students we were already connected to and to those that were struggling due to having to adjust to new circumstances. And we've continued that now in the fall. And, there's pluses and minuses to that. I think a lot of students would prefer to be in person, and we can't wait to be sitting in rooms with them again as well. But in the meantime, I think some of the strengths are that it makes it so much easier and accessible for our entire campus right now to be able to just log on and see a therapist when they need to, when it works in their schedule. And so, so all of our workshops and our therapy sessions and our walk-in are really more virtual check-in. Everything's pretty virtual right now.
And that is so great. I have talked to several students who feel like that is such an advantage to be able to have that for them wherever they are right now and to be able to have access to you and your team. I know part of our audience, Hannah, is a large part of our audience are parents. And you know, their students are here on campus, and so they're kind of concerned. Do you have any advice for parents right now on how to help their students deal with some anxieties that they may have with the different situations they're being faced with in the pandemic?
Oh, yeah. You know, I mean, I think something I keep hearing over and over again from students is a feeling of isolation, right? Or a feeling of disconnection. And man, there are so many things going on this campus right now, so many offices doing programming, so many spaces that we're trying to create to combat just that, you know, to bring students together safely, you know, and in ways that they can recognize, you know, that we're in this together, that we're a community, that there's ways we can support one another. And so, and at the counseling center, our workshops are one of the ways that we're trying to do that too, right? You know, when the first 50 kids that show up all say, you know, I'm stressed and I'm feeling alone and isolated, our reaction was, let's make a group where we all get together and talk about this so that you don't feel that way so much, right? But I think encouraging your students to check out the websites of some of the offices like ours or the Gusty Well or campus activities for the things going on, you know, to actively connect you, because man, they're out there.
Well, we are so grateful, Hannah, for everything that you and your team do to help our students. I know this is a hard time for everybody, and mental health is a really important part. If you were to give one piece of advice to our Gusties out there right now in the final minute of our segment, what would you say to them to be mentally strong and well and healthy? What advice are you giving to people in that regard?
Oh, man, one piece of advice. That's
well, it could be more than one.
No.
It could be three things.
Right. Actually, instead of more of a do something, maybe more of a self-compassion kind of piece. I see our Gusties actually doing so much, right? I'm seeing so much resilience right now. I really am. And I'm seeing so many people just getting out there and trying their hardest. And so, you know, maybe instead of a do this, just a reminder, you know, to give yourself credit for all the things you are doing, because we're all doing so much to adjust. And I see so many people doing it so well, really.
Those are really welcome words and really thoughtful. Hannah, thanks for all you do. Thanks for the ways that you help Gustavus, and so grateful to have you join us today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Yeah.
And here we are. As we go ahead, go Gusties. Thanks, Hannah. And we'll transition out here now to another group that's been doing so much for us during the pandemic, our health services. So I hope you enjoy this video, and we'll see you in just a little bit.
Okay, I am Tane Danger. I am here outside Gustavus Health Services on Give to Gustavus Day, and we are with Nissa. I'm super excited to have you show us what's going on, because it seems like this is like a very important place, probably always, but right
Absolutely.
Now. Yeah. All right. So what happens? Should we go inside?
Yes. When you come to health service, you will call and let us know, or work with one of our fabulous student workers who would be sitting outside to get your temperature taken and get your COVID screening questions, because we want to keep health service safe. So come on in and I'll take your temp.
Okay, this is good. This is good. Oh my gosh, this is so fun.
Right?
I trust this. Have you ever seen the movie No Country for Old Men?
I have not.
Yeah, there's a similar device, but it has a different outcome. Anyway, how do I look?
You are perfect.
I am?
Yes. I'm going to get your cameraman quick too, just to make it all official.
Okay, this is good. Who won? Me?
You were just a couple tenths apart from each other.
Oh.
And cameraman, what is your first name?
Nick.
Nick, awesome. All right, so the main door you came in, this is going to be considered our regular clinic side. So if you're well and you need to be seen for things, lab draws, medications, You get stung by a bee outside, which always happens over Nobel. This is the side that you'll come to and be seen.
People always do we release bees during Nobel?
We always get bee stings during Nobel. Now, it'll be interesting without as many people here to see if that happens. But usually it's beautiful days. People are having picnics. The bees love the food. It happens.
Okay, so I needed to clear that up. All right, so if I'm healthy, I come in this door.
Yes.
If I'm unhealthy, there's a
new second door down the hall closer to Hillstrom, and you'll be directed to that door. But we are going to walk through health service and give you a little tour on how we connected to our new respiratory clinic side.
Oh, I love this. Respiratory clinic.
Yes, follow me.
Okay, this is good. Lots of plastic. I'm noticing lots of force fields.
Yes.
Lots of... That ball looks fun.
Right.
Hello.
This is Kelly, one of our fabulous nurses.
Hi, Kelly, fabulous nurse. How
And
are
we're
you?
setting up for our flu shot clinic later today. We have another one on October 6th, Tuesday, so make sure you get your flu shots.
Yes, everyone get all of the flu shots. I'm going to get several. Okay. I can't get enough flu shot.
Right.
Biohazard. What's in there?
So this is where we would put all of our lab work. So if we do any blood draws or anything, we put that there till the courier comes to pick it up.
Okay, that's fun. Ooh,
So
there's so
here-
many things back here.
Right, this is our new space. So we have 4 exam rooms that they added. So we doubled our space, which is delightful. This exam room is our main exam room set up for seeing patients. Especially if they have symptoms and need a full evaluation. If people are coming in for just COVID tests, we have less full rooms that they can be seen in.
Okay, so 4 new rooms.
Yep.
Increased capacity. This is very good and healthy. There's nobody. There's no one here right now. Have the bee stings not started yet?
Right, so they are not awake yet.
Oh,
they're
got
still
it.
sleeping, kind of like our students. They're still sleeping in. No, so this side is for our mostly COVID-like symptom students. So this is our respiratory clinic. So if you're not feeling well, this is the side you'll be seen on. This morning we've had some meetings, so we just haven't started seeing patients yet this morning. But right after this, we start seeing patients, and then we're kind of back to back up until noon when we start our flu shot clinic.
Okay, I'm gonna just ask the question I feel like is probably everybody is like,
Yeah.
do you feel like you're on top of all of this? Do you all feel like you have what you need to like keep this place safe and the students responding to the fears, concerns, worries that they have?
Great question. Right now, I would say yes, but recommendations are changing within the day. And so if something comes from public health that we need to start testing a lot more students, then we're stuck between this rock and a hard place of do we increase our testing capacity and decrease our ability to see students in other ways? How do we find that balance? So we have 3 mid-level providers, 2 nurse practitioners and a physician assistant right now. And then we have 2 nurses and then our admin staff. So we are very clinic-like and we are fortunate compared to some of our colleagues, but with COVID, that's adding extra stress and we're having to kind of maneuver what we want to be doing and what our priorities are, and that changes day by day.
So it changes day by day, but right now you're feeling good, like you're got things under control and you're doing what you like.
Yes, I do feel like we're doing okay right now. I think we are all working very hard, and it's just, navigating the new, but I think we're doing okay right now.
And this is the other thing that everybody's talking about, but very important, but you're kind of like a last line of defense. There's all these things that all of us are supposed to be doing so that we don't end up coming to see you, hopefully.
Right. We love to help students out, but ideally wear your mask, socially distance, keep that, physical 6 feet between people. Do your best, wash your hands, get good sleep so you don't get run down. All the things we talk about all the time to keep yourself healthy with the addition of the social distancing and the mask.
This is good. All right. Well, thank you so much for this whirlwind tour of health services and keeping everyone healthy and safe. So this is great.
Yes.
Thank you very much. And if you needed a reason to give before, we're literally seeing people saving lives here. So this is the time to give. Thank you.
Yes. Give to Gustavus. Go Gusties.
Yay! That's a perfect note to end on. Yay! That's great.
Welcome back, everybody. It's Give to Gustavus Day at Gustavus. We're here on the campus and just having a lot of fun celebrating together with you all of the contributions that you're making. I want to go over to the leaderboard just for a second because we got a couple things going. You can see we've got our challenge grant from our Board of Trustees going on, a 1-for-1 challenge grant, and we still have 3 states to go. Yes, on our $50,000 challenge grant for our 50-state challenge. We have Alabama, we have Hawaii, and I think it is New Hampshire that we're still waiting on. So if you know any of your Gusty friends hanging out in those 3 states, we would love to have a gift from them. 3 states left to go, and then we'll see our total go from probably that point on $100,000 up to $150,000. But for the 12:30 hour, I want to welcome in 2 of our student Phonathon supervisors. These are our rock star superstars in the call center. And I want to welcome Odalys, Alvarez-Martinez, and Elsa Beise. Thanks for being here. This is your first on-air opportunity to be part of Give to Gustavus Day. It's terrific to have you.
Thanks for having us. We're excited.
Hey, before we talk about Phonathon and being a supervisor, maybe you could give a little shout out to everybody who's watching. What's your hometown, your home high school, and maybe just a little bit about how did you find your way to Gustavus? And always have to ask what your major is. That's part of the introduction at Gustavus, right? So Dallas, where's your hometown, and how did you find your way to Gustavus?
Hi, Tom. Thanks for having me. I'm from South St. Paul, Minnesota, which is just like an hour-ish away from here. I guess I kind of stumbled my way up here. So I wanted to be close to home, but also not too far away. So an hour away was just perfect. I am an elementary education major. So next year I will be doing my student teaching, which I'm so excited for. Teaching, I've always wanted to become a teacher. So being able to pursue that education here is just amazing.
That's terrific. We need more Gusty teachers, so good for you. Elsa, how about you?
I'm a senior communication studies major. I'm from Edina, Minnesota, and I actually found my way to Gustavus through my church. I'm a member of Mount Olivet Lutheran Church up in the cities, so I've grown up knowing Gustavus. I've come to retreats here, and I just really love the community aspect that it brings. And I'm hoping to go into human resources next year, and I've had a great time with the communication studies department here and all the professors and my peers, and I'll be sad to see it go next year.
Yeah, it's always bittersweet when you have to leave the hill, but you'll do well. So you started in the call center as callers and made your way up to be supervisors. How did you first get connected to become callers? And how do you feel about being a caller or being a supervisor? How does that feel?
Well, I started my freshman year here. I was just looking for a little more money to earn during school. I also work at the Bookmark, so shout out to the Bookmark. So basically I saw a flyer, I'm like, oh, I'm going to try this, and 3 years later I'm still here, and it's been a great time. I've had so many great calls, and the stories you hear are just amazing.
Yeah, I had a pretty similar situation, wanted to earn a little more money. I had friends who had done the Phonathon and have loved working for it. And so it was a great time getting to call alumni, get to know alumni, while also raising money for the school and, making it possible for students like me to be a Gusty and be on the Hill. And so being a supervisor is really fun. We get to encourage people to join, encourage callers to make those connections with alumni and just hear more about their stories.
So I think we have almost 2 different situations. There was a year ago, and then there's today. And maybe we take first, under normal circumstances, how many people are in the call center? How often are we calling? What does that look like?
So right now there is 5 people in the call center, and then we have about 6 to 8 people calling remotely from the room or from where they are. It does look very different from last year. Last year we had 15 people in the call center. It was more cozy, but we're we're trying to socially distance everyone so everyone can stay safe and healthy.
Elsa, when you think about the difference between last year and this year, what are the challenges other than the obvious ones? Are you able to work with the callers in the same way, or how do you stay in touch with the people who are calling, especially remotely?
Sure, yeah. Well, our supervisors, we are able to be in an office in the call center, and so you do still kind of have that communal feel. Everyone is distanced, those who are able to be in the call center. And remote callers, I think we've done a pretty good job being able to still have that connection with them. We're all on a Zoom call together. And so we have little breakout rooms where you're able to check in with each caller and see how they're doing, if they've had any great conversations. And so we really are still able to keep that kind of communal aspect to it, despite all the challenges that we've had this year. But overall, I think it has gone as smooth as it can given the circumstances.
Yeah, well, we hear from Logan that you're doing an absolutely terrific job. Here's the challenge of the day. Sometimes people don't pick up the phone when they see that it might be coming from Gustavus. What are the 3 best reasons why someone absolutely should pick up the phone when it's the Gusty Phonathon? Odalys, what are some of the reasons people should pick up the phone and talk to a student?
Well, first of all, you just get to talk to a current Gusty, which is always great. Alumni really love hearing our stories, and another reason is we love hearing their stories. They really bring Gustavus alive.
Nice. Elsa?
Yeah, I would have to agree. I think Gustavus does a great job of keeping this fundraising personal, and we get to hear all these different stories from alumni from across the years. And, you know, there are differences in our experiences, but I'm always pleased with all the similarities, especially what people take away from their time at Gustavus, their relationships, friendships, still staying in touch with other alumni. And so I think it's a great phone call to have, because it might be fun for alumni to hear how similar their experience is to current Gusties today.
Well, Dallas, what are alums curious about when they're on the phone with callers?
Well, they just want to know, like, what's your major? Sometimes they ask if, like, the food is still the same, which it is. It's gotten better. I'm also CF, so they always ask, oh, are you in this building, or are you doing this building? So it's always fun to chat about, like, the residence halls.
Elsa, what do you think our alums are surprised to learn when they're on the phone with our callers?
That's a great question. I would say all the different organizations that have evolved or been added. I always loved, when I was a caller, to talk to alumni about different student orgs or volunteer opportunities I was a part of. And I think that it's only expanded. And so it's really fun for alumni to get to hear about all the new opportunities that current Gusties get to be part of that maybe they didn't have while they were there. And they're always really excited that different organizations are growing.
I should have asked when we were talking about sort of the practical details, but Odalys, in an evening, do you have a specific group of people that you're calling? Do you break out by music groups or athletics? How do we handle making our way through who we call in an evening?
It usually depends on the week. We first start with non-donors because we really try to get them to be part of Gustavus and connect with, and we want to connect with those alumni. And then moving forward with that campaign, we get into laps and then Sivans, and then we make our way through friends and family.
Nice. How many calls do we make in a typical evening? How many do we call, and how many do we normally reach in a typical evening? Elsa, why don't you take that one?
Oh gosh, number-wise, I'm not quite sure. It kind of depends on how big our team is that evening and how many people we get to talk to. I'm always, I'm kind of happy sometimes with callers who, you know, maybe they think, oh gosh, I didn't reach as many people as I need to, but that just means they're having great conversation. And I think that the turnout of answering and conversation is really great. And so I think that connection is really important, especially with younger alumni and getting them involved and getting them donated. I love hearing callers get to talk with young alumni who they actually knew a couple of years ago on the Hill. And so I think it's a great turnout for the amount of people answering and actually getting to talk with us.
We want to say thank you to both of you for the work you do. You're on the front line of fundraising for Gustavus. You're on the front line of reaching out to our alums, and you are doing a spectacular job. So on behalf of the Advancement Office and the whole college, thank you for all that you're doing. Gusties, this is who you get to talk to. You get to work with our student callers when they call. They know what the current lay of the land is at Gustavus. They're anxious to talk to you. They have stories to tell you, and you might learn something new about our alma mater. So when they call, pick up the phone. Thank you very much. It's been a great segment. I think we're going to go over to another video. So thanks, Elsa. Thank Odalys. Appreciate being with you today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we can do an intro. All right. Hi, I'm Chain Danger. I am outside here at Gustavus with Gus, and basically, we're trying to encourage people to do the things that we all need to do in order to stay safe, like wearing masks and staying apart from each other and limiting travel. And so in order to do that, we're going to reward people with prizes that we're gonna give them from far away, like this. Okay, and then Gus is gonna just be adorable. All right, let's go. So like these handsome gentlemen, I would give something, but they're standing too close. So you get nothing. It's fine. Okay. Roommate, oh, that's fine then. Okay, I'm still not giving them anything. Okay. This person's just walking all alone. So do you want a prize for walking by yourself all alone? Sure. That's good. All right, have a prize. Good job. Have you, you took all of the prizes. That's fine. You get one prize.
Sorry. Put it back.
Put one back. All right, good job. Yay! That's fabulous. Okay, I don't know. This is fun. Hey, you're walking alone. Have you washed your hands ever?
I just did from my bio lab.
That is fabulous. Have a prize.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
I appreciate you.
Yeah, I appreciate you. I need more prizes now, though. This way. We're going this way. Don't fall, Gus. I can't lose you, Gus. All right, here we go. Oh, okay, we're going around this way. Oh, look at these people. I feel like this is very good social walking that they're walking. This is good. Look at, you all are doing it good. So I'm gonna give you a prize. Do you want a prize for being good socially distant walkers?
Sure.
Yeah, this is good. All right, good job. Socially distant walking and acid wash jeans, my favorite two things. Okay. Great. All right. Also, good one. Maybe it's just people don't like each other, or maybe it's that you're being very safe. It is that you're being very safe because you actually care about each other a lot. This is good. See, look at Gus is showing how good you are doing. So do you want a prize for that?
Sure.
Yeah. Who doesn't want one prize? Chocolate bar. Good choice.
Oh, thank you.
Scrunchy. The two best prizes. All right. Thank you. Okay. Goodbye. All right, this is good. Gus, I feel like we are making a difference here. We are making our lives count. This is good. Does this remind you of where you grew up? Yeah, I don't know where exactly you grew up, but hey, have you limited your travel lately?
Yes.
Great answer. Do you want a prize?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
It'd be weird if you had said no. I have actually dramatically increased my travel lately. All right. Okay, thank you so much. Good job. You're fabulous. Oh, we'll get out of your way.
Bye, guys. Have a good day.
Hello. You seem to be walking alone.
Correct.
Do you want a prize for that?
Yeah.
That's good. All right, good. Here you go. Congratulations. Thank you for being safe and good. All right, good job. It's fine. Not everybody wants a prize. Some people just, life is a prize. Oh, look at you. You're walking with a bunch of bacon by yourself. Do you want a prize for that?
I'm good.
No, why wouldn't you want a prize? They're
Okay,
stickers.
a prize.
Okay, good.
Right, thank
You have a pizza mask.
Thanks.
All right, that's the best. Okay.
All right, hold on.
Thank you. Yes. All right, take a photo of us. We're very far apart from each other.
Perfect.
Okay, good job. Yay. Okay. You want a prize this time? Okay, wait, you have to stop for me to give, or you can try and just grab it out of the bucket. No, you should grab a prize. I have to ask you some sort of question about your COVID safety measures.
Okay.
Have you self-tested yourself for a temperature?
Yes. This morning?
Sure.
Yeah.
Wow, I believe you. Have a prize. That's good. Is that the prize you want?
Not really.
Do you want a luggage tag which you can use to put on your luggage that
I don't
you
want to
have?
touch it all.
What was that?
I don't want to touch everything.
Oh yeah, that's probably smart. See, look at how smart the students of Gustavus are. That's good. Well, you end up with those stickers then.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hey, Tane Danger here, back in this magical studio. I am very excited for this next conversation. I think it's really an important one and something I've been thinking a lot about. So we've had a lot of fun today, and we're going to have more fun. This is something I do want to take seriously, because we have with us somebody who I know a little bit and respect a lot, Thomas Flunker, who is the head of the Center for Inclusion Excellence here at Gustavus. So Tom, thank you so much for joining us. So I don't know, I guess I'm going to just start sort of where I think a lot of us are. This has been a year, right? Like, there's been a lot this year. We've talked a lot today about pandemic stuff and whatnot, but all over the world, literally, people have really been tuning in, waking up to questions of racial justice and inclusion in a way that I think a lot of us agree is overdue, but we're doing it, and folks are doing it now. And so I've got to imagine that that has shown up and been important here on campus. And I'm wondering if you could, first of all, maybe just talk to us about what it's been like here at Gustavus over the last, several months or even the last year or so.
For me, this racial justice, diversity, equity, inclusion conversation ties right into that pandemic discussion, because the two are actually very tied together. So in terms of how things have been on our campus, this is when you have two pandemics that basically come together head on, it just exacerbates a lot of the issues that are taking place already in our country, and disagreements that may be taking place. But it also it's very important to recognize the fact that the effect that it has on our students is not that simple, because one size doesn't fit all, right? So these discussions have been going on for quite some time. Our campus is very aware, in many areas, is very aware of race relations and some of the components that kind of make this even more of a discussion and a challenge. And then, depending on where everybody is coming from, in terms of some of our students are coming from overseas, some of them are coming from other states, but no matter whether they're from here in Minnesota or from a different part of the world, the effect has been real, just because of home circumstances and maybe the identities that they bring to the table. So it's been a challenge to navigate COVID and to navigate how our students feel, our faculty and staff feel about what's going on right now. Especially in our country, but like you mentioned before, even beyond that.
So you mentioned, obviously, Gustavus has a diverse student body in students coming from all over the world and all different states, all different identities. And I think that you made a really good point about that it's a mistake to think that you can create one sort of welcome that feels the same for every student no matter where they're from or what their background is.
Absolutely.
And so I'm wondering if you could talk a little bit about, I don't know, how we navigate that, how we think about that here at Gustavus, the importance of realizing you got to meet a student where they're at, who they are authentically, and that's going to look different for different students. And that's all of our job.
Yeah. I will tell you this. One of the things right now that, and I'm not saying that we haven't thought about this before, but all of these components have really made us think differently about how we talk and how we set up our welcome process for our students, right? Because we're thinking much more intentionally about how every aspect of our campus culture is going to be a little bit different for all of our students, and I don't just, that's not just in terms of ethnicity and race. Each of our students, if they're all coming from, a rural area, each one of them doesn't have the exact same experience to begin with. So that's something that we have to remind ourselves of. So when you add to the mix that we've opened our doors to the world, in a sense, that just amplifies the need to be as intentional as possible and be as understanding of each particular identity. And that's tough to do because we're a small campus. We only have so many, hours in a day, but we do have to really be intentional about, each individual student. I've always said I got into education, with the mindset of I want to address each particular student and work with them individually because that's what each of them deserves to have. It's not a one-size-fits-all kind of scenario. So for our campus right now, we have to be that much more intentional about listening to our students, about thinking about their background, where they're coming from, and what it is that we need to do to help them feel welcome at Gustavus, because for many of them, this is a new experience. Yeah. That means that their navigation of this, if we give them a one-size-fits-all, that's going to be very difficult.
So I want to call something out or ask you a question on this. And I really appreciate the piece that you're saying about the college learning and growing. Because I'm going to be totally transparent and honest. And I know that, this is a fundraising day and we're making a pitch that people should support Gustavus. That does not mean that everything Gustavus has always done has been perfect. But what I do think is totally true is that this is a place that learns and grows and pushes itself to get better. So in that vein, one of the things that I was reflecting on when I was here, the center that you had was the Center for Diversity, which is now the Center for Inclusive Excellence. And I'm wondering if you can both talk about sort of that evolution, but also what's happening with that center that you run and where it's going in the next several years, maybe.
Well, obviously right now it's a challenge just because of the fact that we can't operate in the same way that we usually do. Usually during the course of a typical year, the center has ebbs and flows during the course of the day, and we run out of space at certain points in the day because there's so many people who are utilizing it. That's faculty, staff, students, all alike, and each one of them may be in there for a different reason, right? It may be that they have a time period during the course of the day where they just have a break and this is their home, right? Or they may be meeting with a faculty member or a staff member as a part of an office hour, or they just stopped in for lunch, or we typically on a given year we have anywhere from 14 to 18 student employees, and so some of them may be in there. So the rationale for the center, use is not the same for everybody. But one of the things that is definitely the case is the rationale when the center started, the Diversity Center started, it started as a refuge, a place for predominantly African-American students who were coming from different parts of the country, and this was their refuge. This was a space for them to be able to take a breather, because a lot of the stuff that they were navigating during the course of any day was not what they were used to, and so this was a refuge for them. So the focus at that point in time was very different in terms of programs, in terms of activities and things like that. we've gotten to a point now where our endeavors are very broad in nature. We're working with multilingual, multi-faith, interfaith. We're working with ethnicity and racial, in terms of populations, demographics, identities. And so all of our endeavors, kind of go in a myriad of directions. One of the things that we did differently when I started was to make sure that we weren't replicating a lot of the things that were already taking place. Our students and our student orgs are such that they're doing a lot of these celebrations and a lot of the awareness stuff through their organizations. Right. So that means that what our goal was then as a center was to make sure that we were supporting, providing resources so that what they were doing could be done even at a higher level, right? Yeah. But not replicating what they already knew. So that freed up time for us to actually start focusing on things that we weren't really addressing. And that's where things like First Forward, our first generation network, came into being. Women of Color Summit came into being. And things like that. We have new endeavors that are being worked on right now. Some of our student employees are working on podcasts of various kinds. We're branching out to work with our adoptive and foster populations on campus, things like that. So those things have changed the nature of what we do, which means also that we had to broaden our horizons in terms of thought process. What we were finding is that the word the diversity component of it, people were thinking about it very narrowly. And so we changed it to inclusive excellence so that people weren't just thinking about it in terms of race and ethnicity, because we work with a much broader population.
Thomas, this has been such an honor to talk to you. This is such important work. And honestly, it's one of the things that makes me really proud of Gustavus, that it has grown and adapted and continues to push itself, particularly in this space. So thank you for your work. Thank you for coming and sharing this with us today. I really appreciate it. Thank you. And right now, we are actually going to cut back over and do one more piece about the health center here. But thank you, Thomas.
Hey, thank you.
Okay, so we're in health services here at Gustavus for Give to Gustavus Day. And in addition to having gotten to take this tour of this place, we wanted to show you some of the protocols and procedures that they are all doing. We all hear the words PPE constantly, but what does it actually look like to put it all on and do it correctly? So we've got Nissa, not a gnome or an elf, a human being Nissa, who is going to show us how this all works.
Right, so when we're seeing healthy patients, we get to wear our nice surgical masks. If we're seeing sick patients, we switch out to an N95, so I'll do that very quickly here.
And what is the difference? Just like that, this is hugging your face like the alien from Alien.
It is. So we get fit tested. So we have to actually go through a test wearing the mask with this big hood on, and they put stinky stuff in it.
Oh.
And we have to see if we taste it or smell it. And if we taste it or smell it, we don't have a good seal. So we've all been fit tested to specifically wear the N95 so we can't taste or smell anything, which just blocks out even more. Surgical masks often have the little spaces, little particles could potentially get in there. So this is just a tighter, more secure fit.
What is the stinky smell?
Some people call it kind of sweet or sour. It's just in like a little puffer bottle, and it's part of the test kit. I don't even know, like a sucrose solution.
Ugh.
Yeah, it's kind of goofy.
Gross. Okay.
And then I get my face shield, which
this is a shield.
really fun.
Okay, this is good. Oh, and look at this is just, I wear one of these like just out for fun, but this is a protective gear for you.
It is. So we have reusable gowns, which is lovely. We can wash them. We do have some disposable ones as well, but we're trying to be somewhat environmentally friendly and
that's good.
Do reusable gowns.
Okay.
Tying, of course, is the hardest part.
This is a hard part. Like Gustavus provided a great education. They never taught me how to tie a knot behind my head without being able to see.
Right.
So now students today, maybe they'll get to learn. Maybe this is something that we'll add to the curriculum.
New life skills, right? Gloves, depending on what we're doing, we will wear one pair of gloves if we are actually doing our COVID tests, because we are doing COVID testing on campus. We're working through the Mayo laboratories to send out PCR tests. But we also have a rapid machine, and so we will start doing some rapid tests in clinic so students can know right that same day.
Wow.
So this is great. So we are very well equipped to do COVID tests right here on campus.
So you're doing COVID tests, and COVID tests require 2 gloves.
They do, yes.
This is good. You can't feel anything now.
Right, exactly.
Why are these better than just like gardening gloves?
Because nothing is going to get through them unless the latex gets broken.
Okay.
So gardening gloves, after a while they get saturated and you can feel the water coming through. You take them off and your nails are dirty with dirt.
Right, that's gross.
These, I should probably wear these for gardening. I won't get dirty nails.
Yeah, I don't know how well these would stand up to a rose bush, but they stand up very well for people.
They do. So this is our PPE.
This is good. And so now I could, just like hurl bio waste at you and you would be fine.
Bring it on.
Okay, well, tune back in for our next segment when I am going to find some biohazard material and we're going to just test this all out. Until then, please keep giving and donating because I'll just be honest, I've got to imagine all this stuff costs money, to make happen. But it is literally what is protecting these people and making it so that it is safe for us all to be here and for the students to be here. So
keeping Gusties on campus, that's what we're doing.
Keeping Gusties on campus, that is what they're doing. And honestly, that is a big part of what you're doing by supporting and donating. So give to Gustavus.
Yay.
Yay!
Okay, I didn't.
Hey Gusties, welcome back. It's 1 o'clock here on campus. We're having a terrific day on Give to Gustavus Day. We're so glad you could be with us. Hey, some exciting things have happened. The over the noon hour power hour was released, so we put $10,000 into our total, which is now up to $131,000. We still have that Gustavus Board of Trustees double match going on. I see we've got about $21,000 of that met, and hoping that everybody can be part of that. We're still looking for 3 states, and I want to give a shout out to our friends in Alabama and down on the Gulf Coast. We know our storm Zeta moved through, and we got a whole bunch of people without power. Our thoughts, our prayers are going out to you, and hope you're doing well. Stay safe, Gusties, and we look forward to the possibility of you being part of that. But first and foremost, stay safe. We do need New Hampshire and Hawaii to come through for us. So hoping we can have a couple donors from there. For this 1 o'clock hour, I'm really pleased to welcome from the class of 72, Trish Wheaton, coming to us live from Toronto, Canada. Welcome, Trish. It's great to see you. Thanks for being part of Give to Gustavus Day.
Oh, Tom, thank you for having me. I'm just honored and delighted to be here. And I wish I was on campus, but this is the next best thing, right?
Indeed. We look forward when everybody can be back on campus safely and that we can welcome all of our visitors back for all of our normal events. Trish, you've had a remarkable career since leaving Gustavus in 1972. I don't know if everybody knows the work you've done in New York and in Toronto. Can you just give us the 90-second, 2-minute version of all the things you've been involved in? I know it's unfair, but give us some of the highlights.
Yeah. Well, 72 is a long time ago, so I'm glad you put a time limit on this. Since leaving Gustavus, actually, I didn't go very far that first year because I worked for Owen Samuelson in the Gustavus admissions department, and I was his assistant, and that was a great experience. It kept me close to campus. After that, I went into the Peace Corps for 2 years. I was stationed in Kenya. And Tom, I don't think I've ever told you this, but the first piece of mail I ever got when I got to my post in the Peace Corps, this was after being in the country for 3 months, moving around, was from the Gustavus Alumni Office asking me for a donation.
That's fantastic.
I didn't have a shilling to give at that time. Let me put it that way. But you guys are good. Anyway, after Peace Corps, I started my career in marketing advertising. I got a graduate degree from University of Minnesota. Then I started a career in advertising, which is taken me around the world, really. I've led offices in Canada. I led the office in the UK, based out of London. For the final decade of my career, I came back to New York and worked out of New York in a global role. Was global chief marketing officer and managing partner for what is the world's largest advertising agency. Was at that time Young and Rubicam Group. And while I was there, at the end of that career in advertising, which was just a couple of years ago, I founded an agency based on sustainability. And I mentioned that because it really is sort of the arc of one's career, right? You leave Gustavus, you join the Peace Corps, you spend 35, 40 years in advertising, and then it it rounded out again, coming back to what can I do to really give back, and what is a sense of purpose that I can use the talents I've gained in communications and marketing to do that. So that's what I did. And finally, right now, I am in what one would call a portfolio career, which is I'm doing consulting still in advertising with the organization, but I've also founded an organization to support late career professional women. It's called Leaning Out, late career professional women in their transition to post-career. So our mission is to find success and purpose post-career. So you hear that purpose word coming up a lot throughout my career.
Absolutely. I just want to say that I had the privilege of visiting with Trish in New York City. We had a cup of coffee. She has the best view in Manhattan of anybody that I know at the southwest corner of Central Park. Spectacular. Thank you. Say a little bit about how Gustavus prepared you to think about complex issues, and then talk about the value of giving back to Gustavus, please.
Right. I think that's such an important question, and it's no more so than today. It really prepared me, when I got a degree in English, okay, which one could say, oh, well, there's a big call for English majors out there. But I wouldn't have traded that liberal arts degree for anything, because it really gave me a broad perspective on a number of issues, a range of subjects that if I had taken a narrower path, more applied path, I don't think I would ever have been able to be as successful in my career without having that platform and that education that Gustavus gave me. I mean, I can give you specifics. I think about my January term when I studied China in depth, or some of these other things that it was like this buffet of experience and knowledge that you could pick from. So I think that's so important. And the vision statement of Gustavus now, it just sums it up so beautifully. And Gustavus equips students to live purposeful lives and to act upon the great challenges of our time through an innovative liberal arts education. And these are challenging times, Tom. We all understand that, and it's so important now more than ever to provide that perspective and give people the tools to really be able to understand and act upon the challenges of the times. And that's what the education did for me. And I will say it continues to do it for me. You never outgrow Gustavus.
Well said, Trish. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Congratulations on an absolutely spectacular career. You are taking what you learned at Gustavus into the world through the Peace Corps and through your work in New York and in Toronto and around the country. Really, really pleased to hear from you. Thank you for being part of Give to Gustavus today, and want to just again say thank you for all you're doing. We'll catch up with you soon.
Thank you, Tom, and good luck today. Bye-bye, everybody.
Thanks, everybody. We'll be back a little bit later.
Oh, hi!
Hi, I'm Tane Danger. I'm standing here in Dagobah. No, that's not true. I'm standing here with Professor Lisa Helke. And actually,
Hi.
do you want to say where we are? Because we're here
Yes.
because of you, in part.
It's true. We are at the Treaty Site History Center on the north side of St. Peter, which is also the site of a place called Traverse des Sioux, which was a historic crossing place for humans and their animal nation companions for centuries before it was the site of the signing of a treaty that turned the largest portion of indigenous land over to the United States government. That treaty was signed here in St. Peter.
So, but why are we here?
Why are we
for,
here?
A Gustavus class. We are not on campus
Great
right now.
question. I am so glad you asked me that, Tane. So I am teaching a class this semester called Environmental Philosophies. And of course, the first 2 weeks of the semester, we all were distance learning. I had planned from the beginning of this class that, pandemic or no, that we were going to, the dog has just left the scene.
That's fine.
That's
It's good. The dog needed to be free.
Exactly, that's what dogs do. So at any rate, we had planned from the beginning that we were going to be outside walking. I had for a long time wanted to do a walking class, which is interesting philosophically. When I realized that we were going to be distance learning, I said to students, we're still going to be walking. You're going to be walking wherever you are with your much better behaved dogs, and I'm going to be walking where I am. And I started thinking, well, where am I? And I thought, well, I could just walk on campus or I could walk by my house, but what would be the point of that? This was this weird opportunity. I suddenly realized I kind of hate doing all the paperwork to take students places, but I could take students places by going there myself and narrating for them what was going on there. So this is the first place we came.
This is super cool. So, I mean, you know, there's all kinds of hard things about this time that we're living in. But this, you were like, opportunity time. I can do something that I've been wanting to do, but, you know, safety concerns and paperwork have made it challenging now.
Exactly.
You got all kinds of ways to make this happen.
Exactly. And when I realized this, I mean, so my favorite philosopher probably is this guy, John Dewey, who thinks of everything as an inquiry opportunity, right? Like all problems are opportunities to explore. And when I realized, oh my God, this is this amazing opportunity to throw all of those worries aside and to, like in the morning, get up and think, well, where would be a good place today? How long do I have to get there? And I would get in the car and drive there. And students every day would come to class and say, where are you today? And they would want to know the story of where we were.
Where's Lisa Helke is my new favorite game. I mean,
I should have on a striped shirt.
You should. I mean, don't you underneath that? It looks like, so we should say this is like a great example of like why Gustavus gets ranked like I mean, I don't know if it's number one. It's very high, U.S. News and World Report, for being some of the best innovative teachers and professors in the country. So, okay, last question.
Yeah.
What is the students' response to this? Do you, are they out here? Are they also walking around listening to the Lisa Helke audio diaries?
Well, that is what they are telling me, and I hear enough dog leash jangles to believe that they really are walking. And then also, they were walking on wherever they lived, right? And so it would be, oh, I'm sorry, I'm going past a construction zone, or oh, there's a funeral procession going by, or
classic.
Oh,
I've used that line 1,000 times before.
Oh, I'm by Lake Superior and the waves are really loud today, one of my favorites. So they really were out. Now we are on campus and we are out in the elements, walking in the Arboretum so far. We've only done it 2 days. And also, I'm realizing that when I'm outside, I can walk in circles and think more clearly. So I think and to say nothing of the fact that the subject of the class is environmental philosophy, and while everything is the environment, of course, this is particularly, we think of nature as being particularly the environment.
Well, this is fabulous. Thank you for
You're
meeting
welcome.
me inside of this tree where we will now face our greatest fears. But Professor Lisa Helke...
Actually, I'm going to bake cookies in here.
Okay.
I don't know about you.
Yeah, that's great. All right. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thanks for coming down, Tane.
I'm going to go find your dog.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Take care.
Welcome back, everybody. It's Angela Erickson here, proud member of the class of 2001 and Director of Alumni and Parent Engagement here at Gustavus. It's Give to Gustavus Day, and we are having a blast visiting with alumni near and far, beloved members of our campus community, and right now I've got a couple of those beloved members of our campus community on to chat a little bit about life outside of academics here at Gustavus right now. I'm going to toss it over first to each of you, give you a chance to introduce yourself. Why don't you tell us how long you've been at Gustavus and what role you currently occupy? Let's start with Jonas.
Jonas VanHecke. I'm the Vice President for Student Affairs and Dean of Students. I am a proud Gusty alum from the great class of 1988, and this is my 11th year in the Dean of Students role. I also had an 8-year stint when I was the Director of Student Activities and Assistant Dean, and so lots of years at Gustavus and just love this place so much.
Perfect, thank you. How about you, Andrea?
Hi everyone, my name is Andrea Junso and I am the Director of the Campus Activities Office, and I have been here in a full-time capacity since 2007, but was a graduate student intern in 2004 and 2005.
Perfect. So a couple of folks with some long tenure here at Gustavus, a wealth of information certainly, and have been intimately involved in all things outside of the classroom here at Gustavus for a while. As we all know, Gustavus is a residential college. We certainly fill up our Gusty schedules outside of the classroom with all sorts of activities. Residence life is a huge part of that residential experience is a huge part of what we do here at Gustavus. And that stuff is a little bit different right now with COVID. Jonas, I'm going to toss it over to you first to ask you, how are things different right now given our status as a residential campus? What steps are we taking to keep Gusties safe in their dorms? What methods are we using to make sure that everyone is safe and healthy?
Well, Angela, I think like the rest of the world, we're doing all of the best practices around social distancing. We're asking our Gustavus students to wear their masks. We're encouraging them to make sure that they're staying 6 feet apart when they're interacting with other Gusties. We've asked them to limit the number of students that they spend time with and a limited number of guests. So like they're only allowed to have a guest in their residence hall room, which is certainly different than the Gustavus as we knew it pre-COVID. And what I do have to say is, despite all of the additional restrictions and requests that are being made of our Gusties, they're doing an amazing job of staying safe and of making good decisions. And I'm so proud of what a great job they're doing, because I know that it's not easy. I know that it's tiring, and it's not the college experience that they were expecting when we were thinking about what college would look like before COVID.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, everything is relative right now. All of our lives have changed, and so I appreciate all that you and your team, the Res Life team, are doing to try to, approach normalcy for students, but understanding that just isn't part of our reality right now. You mentioned one thing about kind of limiting people's social contacts and not maybe gathering in big groups. Andrea, your job is all about people gathered in big groups. Can you talk a little bit about some of the differences in terms of student activities? What are we doing now that we haven't been able to do before? What kind of creative solutions have students come up with in order to continue to gather and be social?
Yeah, that's a great question, Angela. Thank you. One of the things and how I've been comparing the current climate on campus is similar to J-term, in that there isn't a lot of students in public places. It's a lot slower on campus, but that we've got to try some creative things out that we wouldn't have normally done. And so we've done a lot of passive events where students have come to pick up kits and do events in their room with their roommates. So the Campus Activities Board has been busy with online trivia, online bingo. They're giving out movie kits. So that you can have a candy bar, popcorn, some popcorn containers in for events to do with your small circle of Gusties that you have put in your pod. We did a wonderful job with new student orientation with the first years on campus, where that schedule looked significantly different, but they were with their orientation groups for the majority of the time. So their Gustie greeters led most of the sessions, and we figured out a way to do the Yumi Lee virtually and Playfair virtually. Unfortunately, we did not get to do the square dance, so we're going to have to make that up to them in a different fashion. But like we've all seen in all areas of our lives, some of the things that we're doing are actually working better than they would have had we done it the way that we've always done it. So I've really appreciated about thinking in innovative ways and thinking about things differently and connecting with students in different ways.
Yeah. Say a little bit more about that, Andrea. Can you give me an example maybe of an innovation that you all have tried that really feels like it was a win and something that you might continue beyond sort of this semester or this year?
Yeah, absolutely. We've been doing a lot of efforts around esports, and that has traditionally been an underserved population at Gustavus. People who are interested in online gaming, esports, and so we've worked with a lot of our agencies to do some virtual events for those students who have gotten to connect about. I've learned definitely a lot about what esports is. That's not an area of expertise for me, but that's allowed our students to teach us what they're interested in and to take some ownership over that program. So that's definitely a program we're going to be developing in the future. And then one of the things that I've seen on an individual basis is that our students are digging a lot deeper in the things that they are doing rather than doing 15 things. They're doing 1 or 2 things really, really deeply. And that is making a lot more difference for them in healthier balance with their outside of the classroom commitments. But it's also making a more significant difference to the organizations and the students that they're impacting.
Yeah, that's a really interesting point because I know that's sort of the quintessential Gustie is the busy Gustie, right? Someone who's involved in a little bit of everything, and they do tend to spread themselves very thin. So it's encouraging to hear that they are maybe focusing in on, honing in on a couple of things that are really meaningful to them and digging a little bit deeper. Jonas, I want to
One of the other things, Angela, let me.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is another point that we had really great success in, is that all of our fraternities and sororities did virtual recruitment and one-on-one recruitment, and they saw a really great turnout and a higher investment in the students that were committed to being Greek and bidding Greek. And so obviously we couldn't do large group gatherings. And so folks that were interested did one-on-one meetings with the current members of that organization. And they had really great turnout for their recruitment and now new member process.
Oh, that's really cool. So, you know, it's incredible to think of, I mean, we all have it in us to be innovators, right? But I think young people in particular, they're natural innovators. And so it's great to hear that they've come up with some really creative ways to make sure that those bonds are forged, because we know how valuable those are, you know, far beyond their time on the Hill. Jonas, I want to toss it back to you. There's a lot of in our life that is disrupted right now. What are some of the constants, though, that you've seen in all of the social life of Gusties, the way they're communing together and building that community? You know, are there things that you've seen carry over since you've obviously, you know, you've been here for a while and you've sort of seen the ebb and flow of time? What are some of the things that remain constant for you right now?
You know, Angela, I think that our touchstones, our foundations have not changed at all. I think that despite social distancing, students still have a really strong sense of connection to community. That has not changed, that has not diminished. You see it in the ways that students continue to build friendships and connect with each other. You also see it in the little ways where they're thoughtful and kind about the complications of life during COVID. I don't think that piece will ever not be an important part of who we are as a Gustavus community. I think that the spirit of Gusties being there for each other, figuring out how to make complex situations work, that's a constant. That has not changed in the least, and I think that will continue to just be a hallmark for who we are as a community.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is comforting to see everyone riding the wave, right? It isn't without struggle, it isn't without challenge, and we know that fortunately at a place like Gustavus, we've got good resources to support them. I know a couple of segments ago we were talking a little bit about mental health and some of the opportunities to really, meet students where they are there. Our career development office is working extra hard, right? And these are areas that are sort of housed under your umbrella in student life. And so it really is encouraging that we've got the resources there, the support, the scaffolding, but it really is a constant that our students are invested in one another, want to see one another be successful, and are willing to put in the work, right, and do what it takes, like you said at the beginning of this segment, to really exhibit good behaviors and keep us all here on campus, which is ultimately what we want to do. So many thanks to both of you. I really appreciate the opportunity to chat. I appreciate what you both do. I know this work is really hard right now, especially you, Andrea. I know you and I, are both folks on campus that put on large-scale events in massive quantities, and to not be able to do that and completely rethink how you do your job and something that you've been doing for a decade or two in your life, really feels like a heavy transition. But really appreciate all the efforts that you're making to keep our Gusty students connected with one another, connected with campus life. And at this point, I think we're going to go ahead and toss it over to our next video. Thanks, you two.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, good. I'm Teen Danger. I'm here in front of the Steamery. That's the right word, right? Yeah. Steamery. Hey, and I'm with Callie, who's part of Gusty Roar, and with Gus, who does roar. Callie, what is Gusty Roar?
It's a program where we encourage people to safely practice social distancing and wearing masks to prevent the spread of COVID.
And so it's all positive reinforcement as opposed to just looking at people who are doing something wrong and saying, I'm so disappointed in you.
Yeah, we actually are passing out, we had safety suckers and Smarties this past week. So if you're ever in the Steamery, stop by.
And socially distance.
Yes.
And then you will, and wear a mask and you'll get a prize.
Yep.
Okay, this is fabulous. Thank you so much for your work and your service. Is it going pretty well?
Yeah, it's going pretty well. We haven't had a lot of people not wearing masks.
That's good. All right, this is good news. All right, thank you so much for your service. All right, Gus and I'm being pointed this way. Okay, thank you. Do I get a prize?
I mean, yeah.
It's fine, whatever. It's okay. All right, yay, okay, I gotta go over here now, okay. Okay, here we go. Oh, look at that's good lighting. All right, I'm Teen Danger. I am here in the Rob and Judy Gardner Laboratory Theater, which is a relatively new space here on campus and is super cool for a couple of reasons. One, it's this wonderful technological marvel where you can do art and science and make everything look beautiful. And two, since this is Give to Gustavus Day, it's very important to point out this was all made possible by generous donation. And this is the kind of thing that you all are supporting by giving to Gustavus. So I'm going to stop talking and I'm going to show you what this space can do. Or rather, Gus is going to show it with a handful of backup dancers. So with that, T, hit it. They're not going to stop dancing until you give. Please, help us. Make your donation now.
Glad to have you back here at Give to Gustavus Day, and it has been a wonderful day, learning a lot about the college and so many people being so generous. And as we look at our update on our calendar here right now, we are just about to jump over the $170,000 mark and very nearing our 50-state challenge. So let's get going, Gusties. Let's meet that challenge. And I am excited to have a chance right now to talk to President Rebecca Bergman and Vice President for Mission Strategy and Innovation, Dr. Kathi Tunheim. Welcome to the two of you. So glad that you could join me today on Give to Gustavus Day.
Thank you, Tim. Glad to be here.
Hey, you know, it's so interesting that it's almost been a year now, but a year ago at this time, the two of you spearheaded taking a really serious look at reviewing the first 3 years of the strategic plan. And it was really a campus-wide project, also involved the Board of Trustees, and involved alumni, and really looked at the 7 priorities that we had chosen for that time. And during that time, really was an eye-opening exercise. And it showed us the many things that we have accomplished over that time, some things that we still have to work on. So what I would like to put out to the two of you is, one of the objectives in assessing the progress of the strategic plan is to find out what's working well and what our major accomplishments were. Could the two of you talk a little bit about what we realized in the first few years of the strategic plan and what successes that we've seen happen? I'll turn it over to you.
So thanks, Tim. I think I'll take the first run at that. One of the things that we talked about early on in the plan was making sure that we focused on the entire student experience. And I like to think about that as the arc of the student experience. And the first part of that is to recruit a student to our campus. And one of our premises is how important it is that Gustavus is both affordable and accessible to every family. A big part of that is ensuring that we have scholarship funds available to help our students. One of our biggest goals is to close the gap of student need, financial need, in affording college here at Gustavus. And we have a ways to go on that, but we've made substantial progress in scholarship funds for our students. Most notably, a fund called Heritage Scholarship, which is a $3,000 commitment to help a single student over 4 years, so a $12,000 commitment in total. And we have given several hundred of those scholarships away now to students, so a big program. Kathi, what do you think of?
I think of 2 things, President Bergman. The second is what the faculty have done, which is created and upgraded our new challenge curriculum. In 2014, when I was still a faculty member in the Economics and Management Department, a survey was sent out to faculty to say, what are you pleased about the curriculum? What would you think about changing it? And so they implemented just this fall 3 new facets I'd like to tell you about. The first one is called the Challenge Seminar, and that's a deep dive into one of the great challenges of our time, which is tied to the new vision statement. The second feature is an enhanced focus on intercultural understanding, and they've added a U.S. identities and differences requirement to Gen Ed. And third is an informational literacy requirement through the RIT-I, the writing intensive requirement. So we're very pleased. I've gotten great feedback from my colleagues, and a big thanks to our faculty. The third accomplishment I'd like to highlight today is the Career Development Office. And we received a very generous anonymous gift from a Gustie alumni couple. They hired a new executive director, Dr. Andrew Costin, and we've got some real energy going there. I've heard one of the blessings of COVID is that many more companies are Zooming with our Career Development Office, and our career counselors who work in these cluster areas are actually seeing more students as a result. So just like Andrea Junso said in the last segment, there are some silver linings that have happened. So we're very grateful for what's happening in those 2 accomplishment areas. Back to you, President Bergman.
Yeah, and that sort of anchors the end of the college experience. How do our students transition successfully to their next stage of life? And thank you for to all those who have worked with our Career Center to help our students find their next landing spot. And then I can't help but notice that I'm sitting here in Nobel Hall of Science, and we have reopened the entire building, the expansion, and the renovation section of Nobel Hall of Science, and it is spectacular. Never before have I seen science facility that is as good as what we've got here at Gustavus. So really something for our community to be proud of. So
Well,
that's a bit of what's happened, Tim.
Well, thanks, Becky, and I appreciate both of you talking about really what we accomplished during that time and highlighting those areas. We also reviewed and where do we go next, and we set some new priorities, and we thought about what are we going to do in the next 4 or 5 years. Becky, can you talk about Strategic Plan 2.0 and where we're headed with the new priorities?
So I brought it with me, Tim. Here it is. And Kathi deserves a lot of credit in how we really work to refresh the plan. There we go, the old and the new, the black and the gold. So the process involves so many people, and just like Gusty's, everybody pitched in to really think about what has changed in the last few years that we need to pay attention to, and where do we pick up some new priorities. So 2 of the areas out of 3 that I'm going to mention are really about the great challenges. The first is environmental sustainability, and we've really lifted that up here at Gustavus in terms of 2 big goals, one around being a zero waste campus and one about significant energy use reduction here on campus. Second big area that relates so much to the great challenges of our time is racial justice and inclusion. And we all know how our nation has really had a raised consciousness about the importance of racial justice since the killing of George Floyd back in May here in Minnesota. And our campus has really dug in and leaned into initiatives related to racial justice and inclusion. And then thirdly, I must mention technology, because technology continues to change so quickly that Gustavus has also lifted that up as an example of an area that we need to give more priority to.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I know that one of the things that you've talked about is, one of the major parts of the first phase was completing Nobel. As we look to 2.0, is there another facility that we're looking at upgrading, or how's that going to work? Can you talk about that, Becky?
I wonder. Yes, in fact, we are looking at an expansion, a significant expansion and a complete renovation of Lund Athletic Center. And in fact, I think it might be renamed something that has well-being or wellness in the area, because Lund is really for all students, and the increased awareness among students for the importance of wellness and well-being is certainly prominent. So we have a big fundraising project going on right now to give a significant upgrade to Lund.
Well, this is such an exciting time at Gustavus, and Gustavus has tremendous momentum, and so much of it is due to the work that 2 of you have done to give leadership to the strategic plan. I want to say thank you for joining me today. Thanks for all that you things that you're doing for us and helping the college move forward. Really grateful, and we're really excited about the next 6 years in this strategic plan. I hope you have a great rest of the day, and I look forward to moving on to our next segment, as I think we're going to have Tane walk around with this guy I know and talk a little bit about what's going to change in the Lund Center in the next renovation and expansion. Thank you both.
Thank you, Tim. Thank you.
That when this building was built in 1984, it won the Facility of the Year award by the National Architects for Athletic Facilities.
Really?
And it has served Gustavus fantastically.
Yeah.
But we know how things have changed, particularly the emphasis on fitness and the way that Gustavus teaches in its fitness and all of the types of classes that it teaches. And so we needed a new facility, and thanks to the generosity of so many Gusties, we're going to have it soon. The door will actually be right where you see it. But if you're looking right behind you, that brick wall will be completely gone.
Oh, wow.
And this will be all open space, and it will be a really nice entry into the building. It'll still be one of the things that about the new building that was so nice was the second level was kind of the spectator level, and people could move from event to event. And this was the participant level. And it will still say primarily that, but anyone can enter in this building. But it'll just be very wide open. The hockey arena right behind you will stay primarily the way it is now.
So mostly ice.
Yes, it'll stay there, and we'll be able to have it in year-round because we'll be moving the Nobel Conference into the Forum. Some of the major events that will be built and set up now and commencement will also, indoor commencement will be held in there, a larger capacity. So it will be ice most of the time.
Okay, that is very cool. All right, should we walk? Should we
Let's
go through?
do that, yes. And so if you see, and where Gus is looking right over here, this area originally when the building was built was all lockers here. And then when they really realized that we needed space for fitness, which is something that has exploded in the years since Lund has been built, this now will be completely gutted. And this will be all locker rooms here. Really? And one of the things that will happen is that every single varsity team will have their own locker room. This entire area will also be the equipment issue in the middle, in this entire area out to the wall, and the athletic training room will be right in the middle.
So what if Gus wants to elliptical? Like,
So-
he loves elliptical.
So now Gus will have quadruple the space to exercise in ellipticals that he has now in this space.
Oh, Gus, this is your lucky day.
And this is going to be the number one priority for this new building is to improve the fitness facilities for all of the students and faculty and staff at the college. And that will be the number one improvement in this facility. It will be very exciting.
All right, should we keep walking?
We can walk right this way.
Let's go this way.
There also will be a much larger locker room for the general population to be able to come in and use and to exercise and to be fit.
All right, that's awesome. Are we going in
We
here?
can head right in here, yes.
Badminton class.
So generally this space will stay the same, but it will be entirely renovated. It will put an entire new track in this place, all new bleachers.
Oh, wow.
It will be the wood floor, which you see right now is just the one main basketball floor, will come out to about 3/4 of the blue. And so we will allow to have now all of our basketball teams practicing in the 4 to 6 and 6 to 8. We won't have to go to that 8 to 10 slot. And then that will open up for intramurals to come in here and have the use of the entire space in the legitimate hours of the evening, which is something in the past, for those that have been involved in intramurals know, well, go in at 10:30 and play until midnight. Now that will be a much better use of the space because we'll be able to have our teams practice earlier on a much larger wood court.
Okay, so that's super cool. And all new bleachers, you said? So
Yes.
And what do you do with these bleachers then? Do you just put them like up in your backyard? And...
So I thought that you were purchasing them for all of the people that are coming up to see your show in the Twin Cities.
I'm gonna need one of these. All right.
And you will not enter here. You will now enter at that end of the building, which is the west side of the building, because that is the area that is going to join the new field house, which will be the largest indoor facility in Minnesota other than the University of Minnesota.
Can we say that again? The largest indoor facility
in Minnesota, outside
How
of the University of Minnesota.
You just whisper the last part.
Yes. But the new entry will come into this side of the building, and people will actually be able to come down to walk onto the floor for Nobel and commencement. And so they will enter this building, and the stage for Nobel and commencement would be at this end, and then the bleachers would be out and be set up to seat about 4,000 to 5,000 people.
What?
For a major event.
Wow. In here?
In here.
Hey everybody, we are back. We're getting towards the end of our noontime, our midday segment here. I get the pleasure of doing one more fabulous chat with a very special Gusty. So I'm going to bring him up on the screen right now. Can you please say hello, Vidya? I was so happy to have you. And where am I talking to you from? Where are you right now?
Hi, Gusties. I'm coming at you from Boston, Massachusetts.
Very cool. How is it in Boston right now?
Looking out my window since I don't leave very much now. It is raining.
It is raining. Okay. Better
Beautiful
than,
rainy day.
Yeah, beautiful rainy day. Better than sleeting. Okay, so I'm really excited to talk to you. Can you tell us just a little bit about your connection to Gustavus? I already mentioned, obviously, you're an alum, but you've been involved since then for quite a while.
Yeah, I've been involved as much as I can from afar because I moved to Boston right after Gustavus. So I've been a giver since I left Gustavus. I have participated anytime they come to Boston. I try to go to the events. And then I've been on the alumni board. This will be my 6th year on the alumni board.
6th year on your alumni board. Okay, so
yeah, last one.
Last one? We can't like rope you back in? I don't know. We'll see. The last interview that I did was with the director of the Center for Inclusive Excellence. And, we were talking about how Gustavus has grown and changed, at least since I've been here. And I wanted to talk to you about this because you've talked about this before. You've written about this before for the college. And so I'm wondering if you would be willing, as much as you're willing to share and be honest about both, your experience here at Gustavus and then how you've seen the college grow over the years since then.
Sure. Yeah. The other part of my role on the alumni board is I'm the Abide liaison. So the alumni belonging, inclusion, diversity, and equity liaison. So this is, these issues are very important to me. And I kind of want to talk about belonging because I think that's kind of the core part that intersects inclusion, diversity, and equity. And yeah, so when I came to Gustavus in 1998, I was not what one would call a typical Gustie. American with Indian immigrants' parents, newer to Jesus-centered faith. I'm not a legacy student, knew no one who went to Gustavus. And I wasn't first gen. My family had gone to college, but no one had gone to like a private liberal arts college like Gustavus. So navigating that was different. But the privileges I did have were we were comfortable financially. I'm straight, so that's not in the minority. I was new to faith, but my faith did feature Jesus. And my family was college educated, even if it's not at a Gustavus type university. But the biggest reason I was a privilege for me ended up being that I grew up in predominantly white suburbs. So I was really good at code switching, which is the practice of shifting languages you use or the way you present yourself in conversations depending on who you're around. And that really helped me navigate being at Gustavus. But that's not something everyone has. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, no, I mean, I was going to say, again, code switching, I feel like, is a term hopefully a lot of us have heard. There's a lot of, white privileged students like me that didn't have to think about that. And so if you're willing, can you give us an example of how that shows up or what that might have looked like?
Sure. So I'm really good at adopting the cadence of talking of wherever I am. So I was actually talking to some colleagues today at work, and they said, "Oh, you sounded extra Minnesota." And I said, "Oh, well, I'm preparing to interview with my college. So my voice got a little bit like this and a little bit nasal." And then when I'm in India visiting my family, I kind of turn into an Indian accent so you can understand me more clearly because they can't understand my American English. So it's just, it automatically happens. I don't even think about it naturally. I'm sorry, I was just going to draw out underscore the fact that, this is something that you had to learn to do. You seemingly learned to do it very well, but it's just sort of ongoing work that is invisible, I would guess, to a lot of folks who aren't paying attention or aren't watching for it, which, going back to your point, I've got to imagine it's an extra hurdle for getting that sense of belonging. Exactly. And yeah, so that's what I do want to talk a little bit about that. So I will say first off, all Gustavus students are trying to figure out who they are, whether they're a legacy Lutheran or not. The human brain continues to develop until at least the mid to late 20s. But for me and others, the way in which I didn't naturally belong made for extra barriers, like you're saying, extra hurdles. So some people come to Gustavus with many more hurdles than I had, and makes them much harder to find a sense of belonging because they have just that many more hurdles to jump. So that's why I think fostering belonging, especially for people who have more barriers to belong, is super important. And it takes intentional support and programming because they're things that people didn't naturally grow up with.
So can you talk to us a little bit about, I mean, I'm presuming you did find that sense of belonging here. It would, or maybe not. I mean, I'm curious, like, what you feel like your relationship, your connection with Gustavus is, and how it's changed over the years.
Yeah, so I think the code switching really helped, like I said. I did find belonging in a certain way. While I never saw myself at Gustavus while I was there, I think Gustavus's 5 pillars of values, excellence, faith, service, justice, and community, those 2 especially, that is the foundation of, even if I didn't see myself there, hiring people who work at Gustavus that still foster those things. So I had professors that I had a class on economic inequality that I took for an elective. In my education courses, I was a ed major. I had great professors who were talking about these things, especially when we're talking about students with different learning issues. So, and the thing is too, because of those privileges I mentioned, that I did have a family who had attended college, I was able to code switch, even though that was harder. We had a comfortable living, and I'd grown up in Minnesota. I was able to take initiative and like find the pockets where I belong. And some people can do that. But the more barriers you have or the more hurdles you have to jump, it's just like that much harder. It's kind of like some people start off at like way first base camp of Mount Everest, and some people start off at like the last base camp of Mount Everest. It's still hard no matter what, but you know, you really need people to guide you, and you sometimes have more hurdles. And so I love Gustavus. I love what I learned there. I love the values. And, you know, I always think Gustavus can be better. And those values are like a foundation for it, Gustavus improving and being a more beloved community.
So I'm so glad that you called out those 5 values, and particularly those last 2 of justice and community. So, I mean, again, like if we're thinking about where Gustavus needs to go, where you're hoping it'll continue to push and to grow, and maybe even like there's folks at home who are thinking about, I don't know, should I be giving, shouldn't I give? I want to give if it means it's going to do something good for the students who are there and the students to come. What do you see? What would you say, you know, Gustavus, really double down here?
Yeah, so Gustavus just announced, the Board of Trustees announced a 3-year commitment to racial justice and inclusion and equity. And that is a big start. I am also a part of the President's Council on Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, headed by Siri Erickson, who's the chaplain, but also the special assistant on diversity, equity, and inclusion. So that commitment by the Board of Trustees includes fundraising, because the thing is, when you have people that need to, you know, feel like they belong because they need extra support or help, or maybe a different type of coursework, that costs money because you have to hire people. It takes like very small, like smaller class sizes so people can have one-on-one time, and programming just takes money. And so that commitment to that $3 million goal of fundraising for the Board of Trustees is a huge, huge thing. And I really appreciate that Gustavus is doing it. And some people might ask, why hasn't Gustavus done it in the past? And I think it's an evolution, right? The entire United States world is evolving in so many ways this year. And Gustavus is taking that action now. And it doesn't mean that there aren't different pockets and ways Gustavus has tried to address these issues, but this, I think, will be a more cohesive, connected effort for all things on campus. And one more thing, too, when you give to Gustavus, you're giving to the Gustavus Fund, which supports financial aid for the students who couldn't ordinarily afford a four-year private college. So that's what I think about when I give to Gustavus.
That means a lot. Thank you for putting this into context for us and being so sincere and honest. I really appreciate it. Thank you for taking time out of a rainy Boston day for us. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Tane. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Go Gusties.
Go Gusties. Okay. We are now going to throw it over to, well, we're just about at the top of the hour here. So we have a quick transition video, I believe, before we go back to our panel. So let's quick see that. Hi.
Welcome back, Gusties. That was a quick transition. Thank you to Tane and thank you to Vidya tuning in from Boston, a consistent giver both of time and talents. Grateful for her and her support over the years. Here we are to wrap up this next 2-hour segment here on Give to Gustavus Day. My gosh, time is flying and we are bringing some dollars in the door. That number, that total has been climbing quickly the past hour and a half, almost 2 hours, because we've got that dollar for dollar match right now with the Board of Trustees, which is super exciting. Always fun to see those numbers that go up quickly. The other thing that I've got to say, a huge shout out to class of 2001. Just a minute ago when I checked, we were at the top of the leaderboard. It looks like we're waffling between 1 and 2 right now. So keep it going, class of 2001. I love you. Thanks so much for keeping us up there at the top. Tom, how are you feeling at the end of this 2-hour segment?
I'm feeling terrible. I don't see class of 88 anywhere on this leaderboard. You're in a dogfight with 2004, it looks like, and I'm jealous. So come on, 88, let's get it going. I'm feeling really, really good. What a meaningful group of folks we had on with us this afternoon. Tom Flunker and the work that he's doing in the Center for Inclusive Excellence. And it was great to showcase Trish Wheaton and the work that she's done. What embodiment of the liberal arts education, from Gustavus to the Peace Corps to New York City and around the world. Really, really neat. So it was fun to be able to lift her up and share her story a little bit. And active member of the Crown Council and just a terrific supporter of the college. I think, Tane, on the board, the Power Hour just flipped, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, the Power Hour is closed. We did the Power Hour. That is very cool and very good. I'm looking at this. I mean, our total, we are right underneath $200,000 for the day, which is just so cool. Look at that, right there, very, very close. 54,000 of that is matched, which means that we've still got like 46,000 more that we can match today. There's a couple other challenges that we are getting close on. One that I didn't really recognize until now, but is very close, is there's sort of been this back and forth jockeying between the first decade and the 50-year club. So it's like the youngsters and the not youngsters are like going back and forth. And it's like the 50-year club has taken a lead, but there's still room for, if you are a Gustie from you graduated in the last 10 years and you make a gift, you can outpace your elders. And, that's what it's about, ultimately. And I'll just say this one more piece, since we've all been talking about things that are powerful to us, doing this conversation just now with Vidya, we're asking folks to give, and I know there's probably some folks at home who are really trying to think about, what is it that I am giving to? Like, yes, I get it, it's Gustavus, it's this place that I care about, but the Gustavus Fund is what we're supporting here today, and the Gustavus Fund does a lot of really important things. And if you're like me, one of the things that would be particularly powerful and meaningful is that it makes scholarships and dollars available for students who might not be able to do this kind of experience otherwise. And it opens doors for students to be here and to be part of this community. And so it is real, it is concrete, it is changing someone's life, potentially, when you make this gift. So, Angela, any last pieces here?
Yeah, I think that life-changing element can't be understated. I know they rolled earlier today a sort of a hodgepodge of thank you videos after students had received the personal protective equipment after arriving back on campus. And one of them talked about, this has been 2 months of his life, right? He's a first-year student, and it has changed his life already. And I appreciate what you say there, Tane, about financial aid. I was one of those students. I never would have been able to afford Gustavus had it not been for the generous support of financial aid, both in scholarships and in grants. And I'm just so grateful, which is why I give, right? I'm honored to be a part of the Gustavus community and an employee, but certainly I give because of those reasons. I know I want to pay it forward in that way. Tom, I'll give you the last word.
This campus.
There's a huge last word. Before
we just passed 200,000.
We just posted $200,000. So that's a great last word.
That's fantastic. We'll leave
I
that
think
as
you
the
could just
final
say
word.
yay.
This place has always succeeded in partnership with the communities we found ourselves in, including our alumni and the cities we've been in. So let's continue that partnership for the rest of today and for years to come. Thanks, Gusties.
Yay.
That's great. See you back at 5 o'clock.
5 o'clock. See you then.
Gustavus.
Yay.